So I have another privilege to introduce the next panel or speakers. I was asking outside, how would I introduce Kamana opono? And somebody said, oh, he's one of us. And somebody else said, oh, we used to change his diapers. And anyway, Kamana opono is the kapohana, the chief executive officer, I don't know, CEO of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. His leadership has really made a major difference for us, including his publications or his studies. The one I'm most proud of is the Kane Ho'ailane. How we're going to transform male wellness. It's probably the very best statistically put together index and exploring all the aspects of health in Native Hawaiians. His pokokua, his chief assistant, has done a wonderful job in summarizing that and following up with another study, Haumea. You've heard Haumea before. Transforming the health of our wahinis, Native Hawaiian women. But going on further, they've kind of like put together a couple other documents, one called Mana, and leading into their feature on Maoli Ola. And for us, it's important, especially the medical students, and how we're going to kind of implement this whole study into our practices and into the way we kind of like incorporate the care as we learn how to incorporate the care of our patients and communities. So coming up opono Crabbe and Kealoha Fox. How about a big hand? Thank you.
Ko kāni te polo, kua me lono i te polo, hika polo a ke li ka pō kapu i ho anu o aia te pō, ki kahi te pō, ano a maukulu te pō, ele, ka pō ke hai amu. O kāne o kua me lono nuhi no i te vai, lo a kālani honu. Ho e ku kupui nana kuilu no te motu. O kāne pō lani o lani māku o ku o te pau i kiki lani o lono nui maka o waka. Hui la loaka lani. O kāne kumuhana, ho oia i ho kanaka e. E ia no a kua ka hiko i ke kūkulu o talani. E kūkulu i ka honua laha e. Aloha mai ka kua pao, aloha. Mamake wau e aloha aku i ka poe a pao, i ka poe kupa, i Hawaii nei no hoi. Mai Hawaii o ke awe, a hiki ke kokolo ana kala i le hua. I ke la mau moko i ka ili la i papahana moko a kea. Aloha mai. Aloha i ka poe o i nā lahui, like ole o te ao. I te ao malama, i te ao honua nui a kāne, mai ke koko lao, a hiki i lalo kona, a ka pi ana kala i ke kinohi i kahi kina o kane ke ao ki ei, a hiki ke kokolo ana kala i komohana i kane ke ao halo. Aloha mai. Let me first begin my aloha greetings to everyone. Especially all of us people, natives from Hawaii o Keawe, to the west, to Lehua Island, and to the far-off distance to those kupuna islands of Papahanamoku, as Antipua had talked about today, in the Northwest Hawaiian Islands. Greetings to each and every one of you from your tribe, your community, your Ahahui, your peoples, from the four corners of the great and immense globe in the north, into the south, to the rising of the bursting of the sun to the east, which we call Kumukahi, or the place of Kane Keokiai, the garden of the eastern sunrise, to those in the far off west, the setting sun of Kane Keauhalo. Aloha mai, aloha no, aloha kākou e. I can't believe I'm here today because my good friend, Dr. Emmett Aluli, hunted me down over a year ago, and he said, come on now, we're going to have this PRIDoC. And you know how many PRIDoCs we have had in Hawaii? I cannot remember. But three. So is this the fourth time? Oh, this is the third, okay. So he insisted, I be here, and despite my trying to run away, I'm here today with a kako'o. You know, you're kind of getting up in age when you got a kako'o now. I wanted to not only thank Antipua for her great talk this morning, but also to my former colleague on his presentation. I think there's a lot of overlap and emergence. And I'm here to talk about mana. But also, kind of what do we do as Native people moving forward in the 21st century? So I think, as presented earlier, there's a Hawaiian saying, and it comes from traditional healers in La'au Lapa'au, in our herbal medicine. Ai ki ole mahope o kahinu. There is life, or there is the medicine, after the hino is the slime. And that proverb is about when a stream is dammed, and you have branches, you have leaves, you have rocks that build up, and there's a stench in the dam. And you have to, the healers follow that dam, and along the side of the river, you follow the stench to the slimy moss, which causes the buildup from the dirt. And then along the bank of the river, you have to go upstream where the water is flowing. And when they refer to Aya Keola, there is life there, there is medicine. There is a medicine called alai. And the alai is a mineral. It's an iron chemical. We just call it alai. And it's for blood. It's to clean the blood. We have that for alai kane and alai wahine. There's a specific medicine for men and women. But you only can find it when the water is flowing. And what that refers to is that in order for you to provide treatment or medicine, you have to diagnose the problem first. So we look to these kinds of sayings, metaphors, to help us understand today. We all share a similar story of where we come from, whether it's Aotearoa, whether it's on the plains of Arizona, whether it's in the mountain peaks of Alaska, whether it's in the Pacific Islands. The past 200 years, many of our kupuna, our forefathers, have fortunately, unfortunately, have endured years of colonization. And so within these past several years, many of us are moving towards decolonizing our minds, decolonizing our bodies, and our consciousness. And as was shared in the video earlier, is we are looking to cultural resilience as a principal factor in empowering our own health and our well-being. Antipua talked about papahule lani, papahuli honua, and papahanamoku, and that's from a very big universal perspective in terms of what happens in the cosmos, what happens on Earth, and then what in terms of the future regenerative mana. So I'm going to talk a little bit on just focusing on health as individual kanaka, as people. For mana, it is very essential in Hawaiian kahua, in Hawaiian foundation. We know that there are two principal ways of attaining mana. Mai na kupuna mai, mamua aku, I ka mo'oku au hau. We definitely know that our identity of today, our physical makeup, our genetic DNA characteristics are inherited from our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and mamua aku, and further on. That physical lineage also translates into a historical familial community history, and that is through mo'oku auhau, and that is through genealogy record. Just so happens last week, I spent 4 days in a family reunion. We went 10 generations back to both North Koala, Hawaii Island here, and to the island of Kipohulu, where my great-grandparents are from. 10 generations, we have close to 1,300 descendants as a result of that. So the value and importance of my daughter, who is 10 years old, my nieces who are born and raised in San Diego, California, my nephews who are like 22 years old and are all into the Hawaiian music, and they're all into Instagram and Facebook, and we're telling them, put that away. Pick that shovel up and dig the dirt over there. But it is something when you go 10 generations back and you call the name, the exact name of your kupuna kuakolu, when you call the name of your great-great-great-grandparents, and then you get down to the exact name of the child who is 10 years old, who's living in the generation today, that is mana. And the mana is because it empowers them, gives them self-confidence that they know where they come from. And that is a kuleana of all of us to perpetuate, to preserve that kind of a knowledge. Our genealogy is intimately connected to our aina. So for example, where my family is from, that area is called Kipahulu. It is on the north side of the island of Maui. The king there was Kahekili. The wind there is called Kamakani Kaili Aloha. The peak is called Palikea, is because when the backside of Haleakala, when it snows, there's a peak there. And also when the clouds are very high, it hovers there, so all you can see is a white peak. The waterfall or the Wailele is called Waimoku. It goes into another stream, which is called Pipivai and then Oheo. They call it 7 sacred pools today, but I think it's the same hippies that Auntie Pua met in San Francisco. It is not 7 sacred pools, it's called Oheo, and you all need to know that. It flows out into the Bay of Kukui, which is next to the peninsula called Puhilele, which is at the bottom of the heiau called Kanekawila, the same Kanekawila Nui Makeha Okalani that she talked about in her Mo'olelo of Pele. Okay. These stories, this history, helps to empower people emotionally. And inherited mana is really about what we call ka'ipuka o kapo. It is the porthole of connecting to our past. And what we are talking about is the emergence of the spiritual realm with ke'au nei, with the living present. And many of our kids need to understand this belief, this value, and these concepts. So we have inherited mana, and the next is acquired mana. Acquired mana comes from, in a way, a lot of learning, whether that's cultural traditional learning, whether that's education at the university. It is about knowledge acquisition. Many of you are in health, you are in medicine, public health, clinical psychology, nursing. That knowledge is extremely important. But what is even more vital is today in the 21st century, we have enormous health challenges within the system itself, as well as within our communities. So my message today about acquired mana is as we walk into worlds, the challenge or the ka in terms of thrusting a spear to all of us, is how do we merge both worlds to provide a pathway from an indigenous cultural perspective that is digestible for our people without compromising our values. And that is what mana, as Emmett was talking about in our book. Kealoha will talk about it more. The book we had, it really was a project. It actually goes back, Emmett was part of that discussion with my colleague, Keawe Kaholokula. We were looking at what is the value, the importance of culture on health and well-being. You know, it's kind of like mysterious, ambiguous, and nebulous, you know. But as Auntie Pua, as I listened to her talk this morning, we have to learn to be greater translators of those who are the keepers of knowledge and of the flame of our heritage, and being able to break that down so that it's understandable for this generation, the next generation, those that come after us, and how we merge that into current practice is extremely important. So for example, what I'm talking about is actually a couple months ago, I was part of a group that I've worked with this good friend of mine who now is probably on his 5th, 6th class of Lomi Lomi practitioner of traditional healers. We call it traditional massage. He's probably up to over 100 practitioners now. Some of them are Western trained. They are certified and licensed massage certification within the state of Hawaii. The difference is that we are taking traditional taxonomies of ma'i, and that's one of Emmett's favorite topics, is traditional categories and classifications of Hawaiian illness, not just physical, not just emotional, but spiritual illness. And now how does that influence their assessment and diagnosis of physical maladies, of physical illness? And even further is that we know for many of them, there's a Western option of medication because some of them are dual trained. They're in nursing and so forth. But now they have a full years of work on la'au, on traditional herbal. And we're going back to traditional texts. We're very fortunate that many of our kupuna were able to read and write and document that in our own olelo makuahine, in our own Hawaiian language. We're going into archives. We're fortunate there are over 24 Hawaiian language newspapers that actually documented the oihana of la'au lapa'au, the profession and occupation of herbal medicine and diagnosis of ailments. Now that's kind of like, oh, right, Ming? That's like kahunaism. That's like heebie-jeebie voodoo. Awe. You know, how insurance providers gonna pay for that? Well, you know what? We've been doing it for over 200 years. We don't need insurance providers. You know, what we need to open, expand our minds is really the environment we build so that our poe, our people, our kanaka, it's a comfortable environment that the language that we communicate, the atmosphere in which we present the healing service is something that they can connect to. And that's what mana is all about, connecting to our past in terms of the spiritual realm, and then how do we apply it to the knowledge we have learned at universities, through our traditional cultural practices, customs, and beliefs. But most of all, is we applying it today in 21st century. Part of the reason why I'm so passionate about mana is because we are at a state where we know where we have come from and the challenges we have endured. But no longer shall we be a victim of that past. Let us acknowledge it. Let us accept it, but let us move on to empower ourselves. We have a traditional saying, he mihi, kala'au lapa'au e ho'ola. It is forgiveness that is the medicine that shall heal. And in that light, it really is about empowering ourselves to move forward, to take our cultural heritage, to be proud of it, to search every nook and cranny of that traditional knowledge, and then how we bring it into our clinics, how we're bringing it into our community Maoli Olas, our healing centers within our community, and also within our professions. I always believe that the practitioner that comes up with knowledge of both worlds is the better clinician. We are seeing that slowly in the area of clinical psych and behavioral medicine. We've seen some progress in some of our healing health systems, but a lot of the work really is the day-to-day boots on the ground with our people. Where I stand in my organization is now looking for systemic change. And the systemic change is really within our community, our people, and supporting them and those that are the next generation of healers so that they can begin an actual succession of those who will replace them. Kealoha and I have been part of groups in terms of ho'oponopono. We've revived a kupuna council and Kim Burney from Papolo Lokai have been involved with a kupuna council in not only reviving the art of ho'oponopono, we just know it as ho'oponopono. Others call it conflict resolution or so, but it's a tradition, Hawaiian tradition. It's a practice. But we're not stopping at a kupuna council. We are challenging the kupuna to actually train their replacements for tomorrow. To date, they have actually in the pipeline are training over 100 practitioners in ho'oponopono statewide from Hawaii Island to Kauai. Okay, so our philosophy is that mana is a very proactive. It's a very resilient. It causes you to move. Okay. And that cause to move is based on a concept called kukuluho. Antipua talked about papakuma kavalo, which is to break down the big concept. Kukuluho is about setting that foundation, but then as you deconstruct, you got to build back up. Kukuluho is about that. To reestablish, to rebuild, to reconnect, to inspire, and set a new foundation for us where we can blend both worlds of knowledge and practice. I'm going to turn it over to Kealoha now because I know she's going to talk a little bit more into detail about Manalahui Kanaka. We have some pamphlets and brochures, and she can talk about it, about mana cards and so forth. And then I also want to hear my colleague Keawe Kaholokula. Mahalo.
Is this one on? Hello? Okay, mine is on. So Kamana tells me to pick up the shovel and move the dirt pretty often. He's been telling me to do that for about the past 12 years now, that I have been mentoring and studying and training with him, not only in the academic and clinical world of psychology, but also in our ancestral traditions and our mo'olelo and our oihana Maoli Ola. Just forgive me, I'm going to sit. I've been actually really sick for the past few months, but I'm very honored to be a part of the crew that does carry those shovels and that does move the dirt, and I hope to be a person that the Haumana and the OPO that are here with us at PRIDoC can look to see how there's a genealogy and there's a succession to the way in which the knowledge and traditions are also carried forth within our academic institutions and our nonprofit organizations in our communities and with our leaders such as Auntie Pua and Uncle Emmett and Kamana. So the way in which we kind of think of the work and the way that we've gone about doing it at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs for a few years now is really through rigorous research. It's about community engaging. It's about really respecting and elevating the knowledge of our kupuna and these traditions into an institution which can be, sometimes fairly bureaucratic. And so we want to look beyond disparities, and we want to move beyond well-being, and we really want to reconnect to the mana of our people and to bring forth the essence of our Maoli Ola as kanaka oiwi. And the way in which we do that is through some really great projects that we've worked with many folks in this room on. So we're working right now with JABSM's Department of Native Hawaiian Health to create a curriculum centered on the determinants of Maoli Ola. We worked hand in hand towards the creation of the Native Hawaiian Health Improvement Task Force so that we can encourage the legislator to look at systemic change around policy solutions for our people. We work with nonprofit organizations like Ahakane to really think about capacity building for ho'oponopono. We do research that was shown like Haumea, like Kanehoalani, that does bring forth those inequities so that we can talk about it as a people, but more so we can do something about it with those people that sit in leadership positions and make decisions on our behalf so that we can educate them and that we can inform them and we can bring forth our culturally founded solutions in the way in which it's always been intended. We advocate for the protection and expansion of Papahanaumokuakea as a co-trustee of the Marine National Monument. We have introduced traditional agriculture as a definition into what does farming look like in Hawaii? It used to be a monocropping, industrialized definition that had a lot of barriers for our people in order to grow good food, to grow local sourced fruits and vegetables that are a part of our opono, that are part of our aikupele traditions. We advocate for native plants so that they are part, again, of the footprint of our aina. We advocate to support the water rights in East Maui. We work with leaders to address the gross overrepresentation of Native Hawaiians in the criminal justice system. We file lawsuits against agencies who have long-standing history and evidence showing that they are mismanaging our sacred sites. We are the stewards of many acreages of land, more so than ever before. These are our crown lands. These are our stolen lands. These are lands like Waiokeleopuna. And most importantly, we're at the front lines with the state and leadership. They are obligated to fulfill the state's public land trust. That's a responsibility that they have to us as Kanaka Oiwi, but we don't do it alone. Over the past 7 years, under our administration, we have worked with more than 800 organizations. Many of you in this room have been a part of this mission with us. This is our collective mana. This is our Maoli Ola. This has started with both of us for many years now and decades that we do the work. And for the past 12 years, I've really been immersed in looking at our concepts of ma'i. What are perceptions from our ancestors of where illness and disorder begins? And so I share with you today just a really brief overview to exactly what Auntie Poa was talking about and how do we operationalize it? How are we picking up those shovels and moving those dirt as Kamana, as OPO from one generation to the next so that we have Hawaiian-founded diagnostic criterion based on a Hawaiian taxonomy of ma'i, where it's our nomenclature that improves the health and medicine practices for our people and doesn't just talk about conditions, it doesn't just talk about well-being, it actually impacts Maoli Ola for the entire Lahui. And so for us, that's the a'a for you today. We dare you to be the conduits for those of you that are still studying, that you're still learning, be the conduit that connects the worlds, channel knowledge, and traverse those portals between the living realms and those of our ancestors. Help us to set the foundation of mana and Maoli Ola to help us address those ma'i, not only of ourselves, of our families, our communities, our lahui, but of the aina and our natural and cultural resources. There are many stories that are deeply personal to me of this moku and the aina that we're at today. And so I think of it in many different ways of the ka'au of Kaipalawa and his challenge as the next generation to take up the kahuna practice of ho'opapa and what it was like for him to successfully complete elders and compete against them from the island of Kauai and come back here to his home in Waiakea in Hilo and to honor the sacred sites of Moku Ola in his tradition. And so I think that that's exactly what we're doing today as the next generation. It's inscribed into these walls here within this university, and it is inscribed into our na'aus that we bring forth with you today. This is our part of our kanaka oiwi critical thinking, and this is how we emphasize the perpetuation of our Hawaiian culture, our traditions, and beliefs within institutions, within organizations, and within the academies. Kukuluho for us is about mana and our Maoli Ola because our mana and Maoli Ola are intrinsically connected, and we know that without one, we have the other. But for me, it's not just about research accomplishments and scientific impact, it's deeply personal. We are here connected to an island within my own genealogy. I think about my mother-in-law down the road off of Kawaialani Street and the pua in her gardens. I think about the dreams and the chants and the imagery that Halau o Kekuhi brought forward. I have my nephew here who just graduated from Kekulo Navihio Kalani Pu'u, and he's going to join us at the University of Hawaii at Manoa in a few weeks. He wants to study kinesiology, and he hopes to be a Kauka among us one day in the future. He sets to me the example of you can accept the challenge when the spear is thrown in your direction. I'm responsible to my son and his iave who's planted in his aina as well. He's the descendant of two amazing indigenous cultures, not only as Native Hawaiian, but the indigenous Mayan people of Guatemala. And so I think of where we are today, and it has nothing to do with the albuterol that I bring with me and the chronic respiratory illness that I suffer from. It has everything to do with the mana of these places and these stories and our legacy. We have so many tools, and we have so many people back at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs that works with us every single day. They are really the unsung heroes that we know connect with you at your organizations and in your community that are bringing forth transformational power of mana to help us provide insight throughout Hawaii in developing Maoli Ola within our people, within me, within you, within our homeland. Thank you.